Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Allie with amariespeaks.com, and this video here is going to be a quick attempt to touch topic here on um, mind control tactics and the negative agenda. So I have done a couple of videos leading up to this. If you haven't seen any of them, I'll be sure to link them below so that you can check those out. And those kind of will lead up and give a great background on what I'm kind of talking about here. So um, if you're new to terms like sovereignty or debt slavery or energetic transactions, if the topics like the 3D matrix, having a negative overlay, archons, any of those kind of terms and things really throw you off, you really are confused and don't understand, I would highly suggest watching other videos before this one, just so that you don't get lost in the lingo too much, or watch them after or whatever. This video specifically, I am trying to go over some main techniques and tactics that we see in our world of the negative agenda attempting mind control upon us, so that we can really work to get in a place and space of our own conscious awareness and sovereign worth, where we're making continual interactions with the matrix, others, the people, our whole bubble of reality in a more honest, open, transparent way that's tuned to our own resonance, right? That's in harmony with our unique fractal that we are as individuals. Because when we are connected to that place and space and we resonate within our truth, we cannot be controlled, we cannot be infringed upon. And we also are in a powerful space of responsibility, honor, and unconditional love. And those frequencies, those feelings are very solid and foundational to our experience here and to our lives as human beings, right? In our energy bodies and everything, our spirit, our soul, before we even come here. They are foundational and concrete. And having a strong faith in that is really what empowers us to stand in our in full control of our mental faculties, right? Without that, we become highly susceptible to mind control. And if that word triggers you, if you clicked on this because like you don't believe in mind control or you think mind control is a bunch of BS, I highly suggest watching my deeper dives on that, or even my comprehending consciousness episode 20 on mind control, because I really get into the basics of it and compare it to so many more down to earth, not really conspiracy triggering term like mind control or mkultra or anything like that. It can be things as commonly known as cognitive behavioral therapy, or as nature versus nurture, or as social etiquette, charm schools, Boy Scouts, churches in their Sunday schools and all that. So anything that's a repetitive learning, that is a training of sorts, that is focused on thought energy, is a form of mind control. It fits under the umbrella. And the more that we can just get off of this triggering term and clear the ground and accept the reality for what it is, we get to that honesty sovereign spot, right? To where we can really look for clarity and for solutions, instead of being scared of shadows of what we might see, or casting things away because they seem too extreme and ridiculous. So foundationally, it's important to understand, right, that we do live within this negative agenda's overlay of the matrix, that they really hijacked and created this sort of inorganic structuring that resides on top of our beautiful organic matrix that we're meant to reside within, right? And most of us feel this tugging, this pull, this understanding when we're born here and birthed into this system and the world, the negative matrix, we say, what the hell's going on here? Something's wrong. This doesn't seem right. Nothing's, things to be done much better. This is really painful. This is uncomfortable. This is at the expense of lots of other lives. There's so many of these things that bubble up as we grow through our childhood that we question, and adults are like, oh, that's just the way it is. Well, that's just the way it is. Yep, the world's not fair. Life sucks. Get over it. All of these kind of things, those in themselves are traditional mind controls that we are forcing upon, you know, newly awakened minds, newly conscious awareness, new spirits and souls, to sort of push them down, conform them into the 3D matrix, and just get them to not question anything outside of it, um, that ties into that servitude, slave master cycle, the liar's loop that they push upon us all, that I talked about in the first episode with sovereignty, and understanding what sovereignty is, and how the inversion and trick and trap of that is servitude. So if that's confusing to you, or that interests you and you didn't watch that one, you can go back and hear about that in that episode. So here, I just want to quickly touch on the 3 layers and the 3 bodies, and then we'll talk about the tools that they use to infringe through the layers and into the segmented bodies. Okay, so the layerings here are our inner self, and do I have an infographic on that? No, I don't. I'll make one and share it after. We have our inner self, and that's your inner world. That's your thought bodies, your emotions, all of the things that happen within you that you would have to explain to another in order for them to experience or understand. That's your inner world. And it can include times when you're by yourself too, because no one else experiences it. So mostly it becomes part of your inner world. Now we have our second sphere or layer, excuse me, which is our direct world. And that direct world includes anything that you can actually directly be involved within. So that's like your intimate relationships, your family, your friends, your job, anywhere in the world that you physically go to, even if it's like vacations or just a trip or whatever, that becomes part of your direct world because you've literally actually been there. Anything that you have done becomes encompassed in this direct world, which you can directly influence and which you have directly chosen, right, to incorporate and bring into and do a working within an exchange, right? It's sort of like osmosis, energetic. I talk about this a lot when we talk about the ether and stuff, right? But information flows just like energy flows. It's consensual, and we do choose and decide what information experiences we take into our direct and inner worlds. And having a sovereign responsibility for that interaction is super important. It's ever changing and molding, just like every other relationship does, right? But having that responsibility and love for yourself to accept, okay, I am in charge of what comes in and out of my direct world. I do have responsibility for this and for my reactions, responses, all of that. I have control over that. That is what I'm here for, is to learn control over that, to harness it, to work within it, to find my truth within there. What feels like the right working to me. That's what we're here for. So your direct world, you directly incorporate into your inner world, and your inner world gets directly incorporated into your outer, into your direct world, right? That outer sphere. Now we have a third realm of existence and layering, which is our exterior world, the collective. This exterior world never actually touches you. It doesn't have anything to do with you, and you cannot directly interact with the exterior world. As soon as you directly interact with anything from that exterior world, it's pulled into your direct world and into your inner world directly as well, right? It's so important and crucial for us to understand this facade, the fake stage, the screen and reflection of the collective exterior world, because this is where the shadow, the negative agenda, the archons, the collective and all of humanity gets to play its role and gets to create a stage for all to see. And this is where the hugest distortions and workings, manipulations. This is the ultimate power of the archons and the negative agenda, is that they get to control this external reflective. They have infringed upon it. They don't really care about the boundaries, right? They don't care about sacred boundaries. They work to destruct them as much as they can. They want to break them or prove that they're not real. You know, that's really their quest. And so they infringe upon them in the exterior reflection of the collective. And it's really on our sovereign responsibility and our conscious awareness that we understand that. And as soon as we do, we become like live actors in the play. And you become in control of what speech. You don't have to read the lines anymore. You can get up and walk out of the play if you so choose, once you activate your sovereign worth. And that's very, very dangerous to the negative overlay of the matrix, right? God forbid the users of the systems realize that at any moment they could just say peace out and walk out, and that they don't need the system needs them. But again, this is a giant mind control tactics. Their bread and butter is getting this falsity, you know. Okay, so those are the three layerings, right? Now, if you're interested in that, I get into that way more in the in-depth hour-long video. So I'm going to leave the layers at that for right now and talk about the three bodies. The three bodies are of ourself, and they are metaphors for other bodies as well. And so the three bodies are mind, body, and spirit, that I'm going to talk about. And of course, you know, they're multifaceted, and actually there's infinity wrapped in each three of these. And so to really call them three, they can be broken into many more, you know, and they can be called all one. And it's, perspective is beautiful in that way. But for this conversation, for ease of remembering, I just want to work with three: mind, body, and soul here. And I'm going to share my screen here as we get started with this part. This picture here is what I want to share. I hope everybody can see it. It's kind of a guide for me, but it's also just an infographic that I share on Telegram or whatever, on my website and stuff for people to use. And it's the tools, and it's the ways, the means, the distortions, and the ideas, the tricks are represented with images here. I made it super confusing and chaotic and all over the place, because that is a huge also tool of theirs, is to create chaos and confusion, to get people on their toes, to get them doubtful and questioning and losing their truth, within the mix. And so these all tools target the three bodies, and it's important for us to understand that they can each be tweaked and honed and accessorized or whatever to really fit perfectly to each individual, to each template, of course, but then down to the individual workings as well. And so I'm just going to look at my notes really quickly here so that I don't miss what I want to talk about these three specific bodies. The mind, the mind control, the negative agenda, the archons, right? Their main agenda here, their tools will always target the mind to distort what the imagination really is, what it does, and to also control what is allowed to be imagined and thought. This is why they bombard the mind with chaotic extremes through media, propaganda, CBT, like I talked about earlier, the whole entire psychology world, all the ologies, academia is a form of information control, mind control, to control what thoughts are allowed to be thought in the structuring way that should be by the negative agenda thought of. And now we have the body, right? And our body, their main tools and targets will be to distort what real health and wellness is, and also what our true body's infinite intelligence and workings really are, and what our vessels are. And so first and foremost, they bombard us with toxins, poisons. They get us to take in harmful things into our vessels to distort and harm it. They encourage pain and hurt. They encourage the negativity, right? And of course, because it's fertile ground for them. And the third body is the spirit, and all their tools and targets for spirit will work to disconnect you from your spirit, to distort it, to crush the idea of the spirit as much as possible, or at least to harness and control all versions and control mechanisms related to the spirit, i.e., religion, holy wars, all of those, the hierarchies. And furthermore, just to highlight quickly, the mind in itself, when I'm speaking of the mind, I'm talking about information, logical thinking, the actual brain functioning, neurological things, electronic things, energetic ether resonance goes along with the mind, your frequency, right? But that also starts to blend into what we're speaking about when we speak about the body. Now, the body itself is our real physical vessel, the cells that make us up, our microbiome, the interaction that we have with the physicality of the world around us, the minerals that make us up, the molecules, and with that comes like the chemical world, it comes the organic world, the plant matter, soil, and all of those other things that make up physicality are really a part of the body as well. And then we have the spirit, which is something different. It's emotional, it's astral, it's the energy that's within the electrical mechanisms, right? It is that underlying core, the velvet rope back to source. It is that unconditional, untouchable thread of unconditional love. And so now to just quickly talk about these major the tools, the literal tools. Now I have some representations of pictures here, figurines, and little tidbits to highlight on here. But it's so important that when we talk about each of these, that we remember each one has its own workings and its own little tweaks for the exterior workings world, for the direct world, and for your inner world. And then they also have other avenues, other add-ons, additional outfits, I guess, that they can put on these tools when they're affecting or working to aim their infringements on these three different bodies. And so, of course, major players in this are going to be first and foremost the control of the ether and the frequency setting of the world. And so we see disruptions of energy and electric types that come between, the radio, the television, music, the 5G, 4G, 3G towers, electronic disturbances. We have flicker rates that are just disharmonious, even just to your being to be around. We have all of these invisible waves, RF, EMFs, all of these things that are constantly bombarding our physical vessels, and all of life structurings, all organic structurings that are harmful to it, that cause it to not, live as nicely, right? Now, when we talk about just our most close by narrative for today's technology world and everything, it's important that we remember, right? The screens are such a huge muscle of the archons, of the negative agenda. The screens in themselves, just because they emit these waves that change our brain frequencies to be like sponges, to be open, to take in new information, right? However, they also put us on this same frequency of anxiety, fear, uncertainty. It bombards us with these frequencies that cause us to stay on our toes, to be in this flight or fight weird kind of state of in-betweenness in our energetic body. Meanwhile, our brain is like open, to mind control, because it's at that more like beta wavelength, right? And then, of course, they use the propaganda of the actual messages that are allowed to come through the screens. And that's a whole other working of their tools, right? Because the message that comes through the screen in itself is negative or harmful, or it's promoting self-harm or promoting dis-ease or promoting negativity in some kind of way, always, right? And so then we see through, media, screens, TV, radio, audio, all of these things, we see these branches coming out of more tactics that can, again, they're multifaceted. So they come down through the layerings and they come down into all the bodies. And we have things like the news, right? We have the political world. We have Hollywood, religion and traditions, right? We have the healthcare world. And then we have, of course, the real structuring systems, school, industry, big business, government, right? All of these places lockstep that each human being is supposed to go, from birth into daycare, into preschool, into the school, into public schooling, out into college or into the workforce. And either you get into industry and you're a worker, or you get into higher academia and you follow suit so that you're ready for a big business to control the instructions to make sure, that the businesses follow in line and keep following this pattern. It's perfectly in time, and they have all of these intricate ways to come in and target each one of um, our weaknesses or obstacles, the things that we've come here to set up for ourselves to learn, right? And so not only do we have the screens and the propaganda through, speech, social etiquette, and through family units and through interactions and social sort of controls, we have also this whole control of our actual physical vessels, to where they have gotten us to insert harmful drugs into our bodies, to eat contaminated foods, to take in all of these toxic chemicals, right? And even if you are super mindful about what you eat and you don't, give into big pharma in any kind of way, you still have, they still spray the air, they still throw chemicals, heavy metals, fluorides, the pharmaceuticals make it into the water streams, right? Into their filtration systems. God knows what the heck they're doing in there. And when you shower or whatever, when it rains, when you breathe in, unfortunately, they get you one way or another, right? Just like I talked about at the beginning with the waves that you can't see either. Those things are constantly bombarding us. And finally, what I will put over us is the mental umbrella of death, of ultimate destruction, punishment, of fear of torture, of fear of physical pain, and this overarching inverted theme of negative surveillance, right? Of watching you in order to critique you, of watching you in order to push you down further, so that we fear being seen, we fear being watched. That in itself is another great inversion, right? Because in all honesty, the great logo, source, father, energy, God, mother earth, whatever you want to see it as, the collective is always witnessing us, but with unconditional love and empathy in its heart. And just like uh, an audience who's enraptured with a great film, right? They, in the main star, they laugh along with it. They cry along with them. When, you know, when they're hurt, they hurt. When they finally make it, everybody's clapping for them, you know, because they saw the weakest points. They saw them crawl themselves out of their rock bottom all alone, you know, source, father, God, whatever you want to see Mother Earth as, anything, the infiniteness, the before, the observer watches us with that kind of energy, with that empathetic space, um, and intention, right? Because we are all aspects of it. So, um, but of course, you know, this is the inversion, this is the negative overlay. And it's so crucial that they take the real truth and bend it so that it has enough feeling of truth in it that by the time you get to the bent part, you've already felt so much truth that you just go along with the bending because you want to reside within the truth, right? And especially, like I said at the very beginning, when we don't know our own truth, when we can't resonate within our truth body, when we don't support and align with our sovereign worth and love ourselves unconditionally, we can get real fooled by the bending of truth and just follow it along into a liar's loop. Ignore that it was a bad exit and just keep it going, pass into the bad exit and keep it going. But our heart, our soul, the truth is always really still going on straight, and always every time, just like, don't take that exit, keep going straight, follow your heart. It whispers, you know. If you know the whispering, you'll keep going straight and you'll say, you're not getting me this time. I won't be fooled by you. We have to get to that place first. Otherwise, all of these things, they get right into your world. And this is and I'm pushing it past the time that I want to be recording because I want to keep this really quick. But the final illusion and bending of truth that I will put over us is the spiritual one. And that is our seeking of being seen, right? Of being liked, of being loved, and twisting it into this avenue and canal of social media and of the society and of the system, the rulers, the politicians, and all the people who will call the shots, right? To want to be in line and be in like with them and get their respect and follow suit. They have really taken that natural, organic longing of connection and servitude, or service, excuse me, service to others, sacred sovereign service, and swapped it into this servitude of the self and of a system, of a singularity which excludes others. Most certainly must exclude others. That's the point. So, you know, it's no surprise to see that they have taken our energetic workings and exchanges of energy and love and turned it into currency, turned it into money, turned it into likes online or influence or shares or some kind of loggable data, right? The algorithm of AI, their inverted structuring, this archonic overlay is AI based. It is computer in silico run. You know, it's all a simulation. It's all algorithmic based upon data collection. And of course, they need as much data out there. And of course, they need to extend their body of gatherable data as much as possible so that they can correctly outcast outliers, choose parameters, set the structuring and statistics to show the means and averages that they want so that they can control the system and keep it functioning in directionality that is beneficial to their negative orientation. Right? So I hope that hasn't confused anybody. I hope I really kept it quick with these, with the tools and how they get us. And so please take these images, take these tools, the screens, the propaganda, the social etiquettes, the ideas, all of these things that are placed on you, and use your own individual three bodies to assess the information, right? to go through them, to choose what feels right and wrong to you, to choose what's true to you, and to really always work to gain more conscious awareness for your own honest data collection, to where you can have all the data points available to you, not have to worry about whether the matrix has put out parameters and cast aside outliers. So you're missing a lot of information out there and you're only seeing the picture they want you to see. Always question those. Always look at the curtain. Is it fluttering? Can you get over there? Is the window open behind there? Right? Don't be fooled. Don't just eat what's given to you. Ask what's in it. Read the labels. Sovereign responsibility for what you're taking in to your direct and inner world, remembering your own sacred boundaries, upholding them with unconditional love and sovereign worth, right? These are the things that will get you to start noticing all of these tentacles that has slithered their way into your layering, and to cut them out when they're in there, and to know that they do reside in this exterior world, and that is their playground, and it is always looking to sneak its way, hang these nooses and lassos down into your direct world to get you to try to pull on them, to get them to get the exterior circus show down into your inner world, so that they have more adherence. They can eat your energy. They can use you as a user in their systems. But you have to choose it. You have to reach out and grab them and allow them into your world. So be conscious of your direct world and be vigilant of your inner world, and spend time with your inner world to know what it is, to do the alchemic energy clearing in there. Get your light looking at your shadow, get your shadow questioning your light. Don't be scared of your thoughts and your feelings and your spiritual body, right? Spend some time feeling with that body, all three bodies, right? And look at the layering in your life, and look at where possibly outside information is infringing on you. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you are intrigued and you'd like to hear a lot more, you can check out that video that I made, the hour-long video I will share next. Actually, maybe I will just share it on BitChute. So if you're seeing this quick video over on YouTube, check me out on BitChute, because I don't think I will put that video up on YouTube, because I do get into a little bit more direct pointings, and I don't want to get flagged or have my channel shut down or anything like that, because I do I like to share more positive things in general anyways, so this is kind of an off the fly thing that I'll keep over on BitChute. So if you're interested in that, you can check the links out. You can find me on Telegram at Marie Speaks. You can find me directly over on my website at www.amariespeaks.com, where I share all types of free tips and tools and references across all types of categories that have to do with introspection, spirituality, and happiness. Also, I have a podcast over on Spotify at Marie Speaks, so you can find me over there if you're into podcasts as well. Yeah, so thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you'll catch me on another video or find me on the other platforms. Have a beautiful day or evening wherever you are in the world. Sending you blessings and love.